Hey, what's up everyone? It's Emily and welcome back to my channel. Not all books can be winners. Some books are not for certain people and some of them just disappoint. Today I want to talk about all the books that disappointed me the most in 2022. If these books are on this list, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were bad books, but maybe they just weren't for me at all or just didn't live up to the expectations I had when I began reading them. Also, surprisingly, this list is not very long. There are only 5 books on this list. Let's just get into it. In terms of books that just didn't live up to the expectations I had, I want to talk about Hex Appeal. I read this as an ARC and I ended up giving it 3 stars, but it's honestly probably like a 2.5. I just got really bored in this book. It was so long and the romance was meh. I thought that the love interest had the personality of a saltine cracker. Was just not for me. I love magical witchy romance books and that's I guess what it was, but it also just wasn't. I really thought the plot didn't go anywhere and the stakes were just completely missing. And they had this really awesome concept with the house that was like alive, but didn't really do enough with it, in my opinion. There's just a lot going on, and also the side characters were by far the best part of the book, and I don't have to love your main character, but if I can't even like stand listening to them, we've got a problem. This one just really disappointed me, but it was still fine, and I can see like other people really enjoying it. I just think it just wasn't for me. The next book on my list is Artemis by Andy Weir, and I have to say I love Andy Weir's work. I've read all 3 of his books that have been published, and this one by far is just subpar compared to the rest of them. It's the shortest one, and it takes place on the moon, which I thought was really cool, and we have a female main character, but honestly, Andy should not write women, in my opinion. She kind of had not like other girls syndrome, but in a way where she was almost like hyper masculine to make up for the fact that she was a woman. It was just kind of weird. It is a heist book, which was cool, and that is kind of what drew me into it in the first place. But I really thought the plot was lacking in a lot of ways, and even though the world was really cool, I didn't really care about any of the characters. And, you know, based off of his other 2 books, I thought, you know, this one was gonna be awesome, it would be amazing, but I knew this one is rated fairly low compared to his other books, and honestly, yeah, for good reason. I wouldn't say never read it, but I think go into it with low expectations. Next is M is for Magic, which is a Neil Gaiman short story collection, and in my Goodreads, I'm pretty sure the first line I wrote is M is for meh, because it was not great for me. I thought the short stories really lacked. I thought they were weird, and I thought that they were boring, and one of them is literally just a chapter out of another one of his books. And the problem is I really love Neil Gaiman. It was just really disappointing to read this because I was hoping that it would be really whimsical and fun like a lot of his other stories, and it was just really not, which was really disappointing, and I'm very sad about it. He has plenty of other wonderful books and stories, and yeah, this one was a huge miss for me, and I think you would serve yourself to read something else by him. This is the one that's gonna give me hate. I'm sorry. This book was not it for me. It was a 2-star read, and I gave it 2 stars because I finished it at least, and I thought, you know, it was somewhat interesting enough for me to finish it, but I didn't love it. And no, it's not because of her lack of quotation marks. It's because I didn't like it. I really thought it was gonna be a favorite of mine. I read the back of it and I was so intrigued by it, and then it just fell flat in every way for me. And it's not because I couldn't relate to the characters or the situations they were in. I just hated them so much. Like, I hated that the guy kept sleeping with her and then he kept like calling her ugly, and I'm like, dude, could not listen to it. And she already had like no self-confidence, but then she also just like had her own issues, and that was just not great either. I understand what Sally Rooney was trying to do. I understand that. And I understand why people like this book, but it just was not for me. It fell flat in every single way. And lastly is The Midnight Club. This is like a book that I DNF'd at like 75%. This book is so short, and I picked it up because it was around Halloween time. It was an audiobook, so I could read it for free, and I wanted to watch the Netflix series. And because of this book, I will not be watching the Netflix series on it. The concept is amazing. It's a bunch of kids with terminal illnesses, and they get together at midnight and they share fun stories that they've like created in their heads that like secretly share certain aspects of their lives or their relationships. Really interesting concept. And then like nothing happened, and I was so bored, and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for something to happen. And then I hit 80% and I was like, I'm done. I'm not finishing this book. It was boring. I'm over it. So I DNF'd it, and it was sad for me. I didn't even rate it on Goodreads. I was just like, no, I didn't finish this. So those were my biggest disappointments of 2022. I want to know what your least favorite books were of 2022 or your worst reads of 2022. Did anything not live up to your expectations? Were you hoping for more from a book or your favorite author? I don't know, just let me know down below. I'd love to hear from all of you. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of my writing and bookish content, please be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more. Thank you as always for being here and for watching my videos. It means so much to me to hear from you and see you all here. Thank you so much for watching, and I cannot wait to see you in the next one.